Hey girls, it's Thursday! Actually not Thursday, it's Tuesday, and I'm making this video instead of writing my paper for school. That's due at 7:30. But the theme for this week was One Direction, and we were told that we could talk about anything One Direction related. And Sam mostly just talked about Louis, and I assume that's what Mary Grace is going to do. I don't know what Mariah will do, but I'm going to focus instead on the fan fiction of this fandom, which, if you have a problem with real person fic, you should probably leave now. But I just want to say that I, do realize that we're writing about like fictionalized versions of these people, and that there are two sets of One Direction in your head. There's the real one, the real people who sing the music and appear in videos, and then there's the ones we write. And so I'm going to talk about around 7 fics today. This video is going to be 7 minutes long. I apologize. Probably longer. And I have a lot of these printed out. And I read them at school a lot, but I was too lazy to go and get them and show them to you. So the links to them will be in the doobly-doo. Okay, first one I'm going to talk about is going to be all the revolutionaries I know are awful dancers. These are all Harry Louis, and this fic is by I actually don't know. It was posted on 1D fan work, where it's just a community where a bunch of authors post their fics, and it's basically about how it's a university AU, and it's from Harry's perspective, and it's about how Harry sees Louis for the first time at a rally, and initially thinks that he can never see this person anything but at that level of excitement and anger. Then he finds out he's in one of his classes and just sitting there calmly reading a book, and he starts up a friendship with him. And I think this is one of my favorite fics, not because of how long it is. It's pretty short, and not really because of the subject matter, but because of the way that they characterize Louis. Because the focus, it might be Harry's perspective, but it's really just about Louis. It's just so great. Okay. Okay, this is the best part, because this really resonates with me, and I think it's great characterization. Okay. He takes other people's pains and makes them his own, so maybe that's why he's so sad. He is a genuinely good guy who doesn't like it when people suffer, and it's not like he blames himself for all the problems in the world, but he does feel guilty that he can't fix them. He wants to help, goes to protests, marches, puts up posters, initiates debates, takes part in groups and societies, does so much volunteer work, but there are some days he is feeling so low he can barely get out of bed. He doesn't let anyone see him like that, not even Liam and Zayn, who he shares a flat with, and never, ever his family. Harry is the only one who knows the Louis self-deprecating and so insecure and so unsure and so guilty about the things he has no control over. And that part always hits me every time I read it, not just the first time. And I think that's basically the standout part of that fic. Love the ending, but I'm not going to spoil that for you. The next one I'm going to talk about is called Nice Boy Seeks Same for Hookup by Little Mouseling. It's on Archive of Our Own and will be linked in the doobly-doo. Anyway, and it's about Harry and Louis pre-X Factor, and it's an AU, but it's set in the same universe. So it's a different take on events. I don't even know how to describe it. You'll have to read it, but what am I saying? Okay, Louis is basically a gay boy in his hometown who is dating a girl named Hannah, but she realizes that he's gay, and they never do anything besides like kiss and feeling each other up, and they basically sit around and talk about guys most of the time. And so Hannah one day puts an ad out for him on Craigslist together, asking for someone to teach him how to have good sex, and a bunch of people answer, but the only person that stands out and does not seem creepy at all is Harry. And so they decide to meet up in Manchester, and it's supposed to be like a no strings attached thing, and they have a lot of chemistry and have some pretty good sex, and then at the end we discover that this is actually pre-X Factor, and then can easily fit into as a prequel to everything that happens. And it's just really well written for what it is. Probably the best written like NC-17 fic in this fandom, to be quite honest. The next fic I just want to recommend, it's called No Strings Attached by Brown-Headed Stranger, and she has other fics that she wrote, like there's one about them as primarily online friends, and there's one called Boy Wizards where it's just them in the Harry Potter universe, but this one's her most popular, and at first I didn't think it was as great as everyone said it was, but it really is. It's long. It's 16 chapters, and it has an epilogue, and there's some like post No Strings Attached fics that she wrote, but it has side pairing of Liam and Zane, and basically Louis is a single parent, and his best friend Zane and Liam, and Harry are One Direction. They were in the X Factor, but they never they don't get famous until like halfway through the fic, and it starts to complicate things, but it's basically just like a domesticated Louis Harry fic, and it's really good. I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to describe the whole thing because it's so long, but you need to read it. It's one of those, must-read fics for the fandom. A lot of people think that, like, For Angels to Fly is the one fic that you need to read, but I didn't really, love it, For Angels to Fly, so I think that everyone should read No Strings Attached, and then one that I'll talk about at the end. Next fic I just want to recommend is called So Says I by Spark by Spark. It's a sixth form AU where Harry's an older student and Louis is a student teacher. The prose is great. Pretty short, written in little parts. You need to read it. I've read it 20 times. I don't even know why. It just stands out to me. The last fic I want to talk about is called All This and Love Too by Just Gay TBH. And it's probably my, out of everything, it's my must-read fic for this fandom. And it's one of my favorite fics that I've ever read. It makes out of every fandom, it's probably in the top 3, and it's not even finished. I thought it was finished, but the author has said that she still has a couple more chapters to write, but I think it stands really well on its own as these 3 chapters. And it's basically about Harry having nightmares, and then Louis crawling into his bed at night and then leaving him suddenly, and Harry having to deal with that unrequited love. And it ends quite suddenly, and like I said, I didn't think that it was going to have more chapters. Apparently it is, but I wouldn't count on it, and I would just read it as they stand alone 3 chapters, and it's just some of the best writing. It's the best writing. It's just one of those things that hit you, and it's so poignant, and you might come into this fandom thinking that this is all happy-go-lucky, and then you get this kind of real angst that you know, you might not have expected, and you need to read this fic. I'm trying to find my favorite line from it. Here's my favorite line, and I think it, you know, really sums it up. Einstein said that gravitation cannot be held responsible for people falling in love. Harry wonders if it can be held responsible for people falling apart. And I basically just sobbed my way through this fic, but the summary is, Harry is desperately in love with Louis, which is hard enough to ignore on any normal day, but then Louis starts to have horrible nightmares and make him sneak into Harry's bed at night, partly based on Come Out of the Shade by the Perishers. And it's amazing. I'm gonna start crying, so I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna wrap this up and say that this fandom has some of the best fanfiction out there, out of all of the fandoms I've encountered. And maybe not even just some of the best fanfiction, but basically some of the best writers write for this fandom. And the only other fandom I've seen on that level is probably the Sherlock fandom, as messed up as they are, have the best writers too. I can't really, you know, speak for Harry Potter because there's so much shit out there, even though there are tons of great highlights, but this fandom, man, best fan fiction. Just, you know, stop sending it to the boys on Twitter. Okay, today is awesome because I got to sleep in. I don't know why Thursday will be awesome, but that's why Tuesday is awesome. So, I will see you, Sam, on Monday. Girl from the